Hello guys, welcome. Today we're gonna be talking about the Necromancer Wizard. Let's go, roll credits. I've been waiting in the shadows for this one. It's been in my mind for a long time. I've been secretly gathering information and I have a lot to talk to you about, guys. So this is gonna be a long video. Get ready, strap in. We're gonna make the strongest, most summons possible wizard ever. So let's go to the spreadsheet again, where all the important information lies. I will link this down below in the description. So there's two alternative paths to doing this. One is going full wizard, and then at the end you get to have a small choice. And the other one is a wizard sport multi-class. So let's quickly go through why we are considering these options. So Necromancer Wizard, you definitely need 6 levels. The most important thing you get from this, the most important feat you get from this is the Necromancy feat at level 6, which allows you to summon more undead whenever you use the animate dead spell. And whenever they do damage, they deal additional damage according to your proficiency bonus. And it gives them more HP according to your wizard level. So there is a reason to get a little bit more levels in wizard. There is a little bit of a trade-off, but I feel like it's more favored on the druid side. We'll go through both ones because we also need to talk about the spells of the wizard and how to use them. We'll also go through the summon plan down the line and do all the calculations and show you guys how to do it on screen. So let's get to it. Level 1, wizard. Which cantrips should you get? True Strike, not a great cantrip. I've tried it. It doesn't help. It doesn't actually give advantage to your undead. Useless. Don't pick it. Definitely get Mage Hand. It kind of also counts as a summon in the game. And then you have to choose between Bone Chill, Firebolt, Ray of Frost, and Shocking Grasp. I would pick Bone Chill, and I would also pick one of the other three. Probably Firebolt because it also sets things on fire. Blade Ward is alright, down the line though. Not okay now. Now for level 1 spells, what do you want to be picking? We definitely need Find Familiar. It is a spell, it is a summon. I would pick Shield for some defensive capabilities. It's always good to have Shield. Mage Armor to boost your armor class a little bit, since you're gonna be a squishy little wizard, especially for the first levels. Down the line you're gonna be a lot more tankier. You would get also Thunder Wave to get some utility damage AoE. Sleep is good for the first 3 to 4 levels of the game, so I would definitely consider it as an option. Tashas is very good for CC, and Magic Missiles is very reliable, especially when you're fighting anti-Ethel. So those would be my options. And now let's look at the stats. First of all, you need to be maxing your intelligence. Constitution is also important, and a 14 in dexterity is a must. Now the final 2 points you can put in strength, because we are actually going to be needing a little bit of strength down the line, and we'll see why. Now, so level up, level 2, wizard level 2. At this point we want to be choosing our subclass. Necromancy subclass, do not miss this, is one of the most important reasons we are going into wizard levels. So I would definitely pick Chromatic Orb, as it allows you to create an acid surface which reduces the enemy's armor class by 2. This is very useful when you have a lot of creatures that don't have a very high to hit chance. It helps your allies do more damage to them, or land their hits more often, let's say. The other spell I would choose would probably be Tasha's Hideous Laughter, as it's a very good CC for this level. It gets outscaled by Hold Person down the line, but right now it's one of the best we can get. Now, Wizard level 3. Now we get our access to 2nd level spells. Definitely, I would pick Cloud of Daggers for the early game. Misty Step is good for late game, not good enough at this point of the game, because you don't want to be using your little spell slots, the small amount of spell slots that you have to teleporting around the battlefield. Hold Person is an amazing spell, especially because it can paralyze the enemy, and then your summons will get automatic crits if they hit them in melee. Melt's Acid Arrow is another consideration I would have, as it also creates an acid surface and it deals pretty good acid damage. Enlarged Reduce is a good buff for your summons when you start summoning them at level 5 and 6. Scorching Ray, a good single target spell that gets outscaled. Invisibility, you're never gonna regret it. And Knock, always good to dodge those dexterity, sleight of hand checks whenever you're trying to steal things from chests or loot things. You know, maybe you're not stealing, maybe you're just unlocking things. So yeah, this is what I would pick. Probably hold person at this point of the game. Now, level 4. Now, again, we get a new cantrip. I would choose one of the two that I didn't pick earlier. Minor Illusion can also be a consideration here to lure your enemies to a certain position or to help you navigate through some guards if you ever have to sneak around. At this point, I would get Misty Step because it would be important. Mirror Image is a good defensive spell you can use down the line to prepare for battles, but I prefer Enlarged Reduce at this point of the game. And it's a good concentration spell to have. Now, for feats and ability modifiers, I would definitely consider Tough at any point of the game. You're gonna need that extra hit points, those extra hit points, because you're kind of very squishy. I would also consider Resilient in Constitution. However, you would have to rearrange your stats so that it doesn't, you don't leave it at odd numbers. You don't want to be wasting points. Additionally, thank you Josh Lee for subscribing. Now, additionally, you can go for levels in Constitution or Intelligence. For points in Constitutions or Intelligence. Yeah, and this will be it. Okay, so let's go with Intelligence this once. Again, Resilience in Constitution is very important. You're gonna get that at level 12 if you go full Wizard. Okay, now at level 5, do not pick Animate Dead. I know you're tempted, but you're gonna get it for free next level. You can be a little bit more patient, or you can get it and then on level 6 respec and lose that 100 gold. I would definitely pick Fireball, as it's a very strong AoE effect, especially at level 5. Not many spells compare with it, and you really shine at this point. Slow is a very good debuff for all your enemies, and it's an AoE debuff. I would consider Slow. Hypnotic Pattern, again, very good control. Haste, an amazing buff for your allies or summons. And Counterspell is another consideration I would have, as it not only just counters the spells of your enemies, but it also gives you an accurate description of what they do, so you get information from this as well. So if you're ever going through a tough battle, just preparing Counterspell, even if you don't use it, you can actually see the spells that your enemies are doing. Now for prepared spells, it would probably look a little bit different at level 3. I would probably pick Shield, use the familiar, summon it, and then unprepare the spells. Same goes for Mage Armor. Tasha's Hideous Laughter, Thunder Wave if I'm ever caught off position, Chromatic Orb, Magic Missiles. You no longer need that. You don't no longer need Cloud of Daggers. You go for Fireball, you have Hold Person, you have Misty Step, and you also have your Counterspell. I would choose between Magic Missile and Chromatic Orb and get Enlarged Reduce as well. Now at level 6 Wizard, we get the most important features, and the reason why we go Wizard is this ability right here. You get Undead Thralls, additional Undead. When you animate Undead, you can raise an additional corpse. This is really important. It really helps you summon a lot more enemies. Well, a lot more zombies, not enemies. Then you also get better summons. When you create a creature with Animate Undead, they have additional hit points equals to your Wizard level, and they get your proficiency bonus added to their damage. Very strong, especially with the way that we're going to be buffing them with the Oathbreaker Paladin and their Life Cleric that we're going to be going through in the next video. Your army is going to be hitting for high numbers. And if you paralyze the enemy, oh boy. So here you get Undead Thralls, Animate Undead, which is always going to be prepared for you. This is very good. And at this point of the game, I would consider between Haste, Slow, Hypnotic Pattern, and maybe Sleet Storm for battlefield control. Up to you. This is not a must. Stinking Cloud might also be a good CC spell to consider. It's concentration, but if your undead are immune to it, then it's probably a very good choice, because you can keep your enemies crowd controlled inside here and smack them with your undead. So yep, let's get slow. Haste and slow. Now, at this point in the game, you could either multi-class for one level of Druid or go down the wizard path. We'll go through both. We'll definitely go through both. But we'll first go through the wizard, as it will give us the chance to go through the wizard spells, so you know which spells to learn from scrolls down the line if you go the Druid sports path. So, level 4 spells. Banishment is a cool spell. It's a little bit sad that it's only for 2 turns and it requires concentration. It feels like you're not getting enough for your money. Blight is a good spell that also works with level 2 ability Grim Harvest. You gain 3 times the health of 3 times the level of the spell as HP whenever you kill something with a Necromancy spell. So if you use this and kill an enemy, you're gonna be healing for 12. Not bad, but not great, and your life cleric will be able to do that as an AoE, so don't worry about it. Confusion would be a spell I would really want to see in combat, while the zombies are laying on your enemies and they're confused, hitting each other, and they don't know what they're doing. It's gonna create and sow chaos in the battlefield. I really want to see this spell work out. You have to pick Conjure Manual Elemental here. It's one of the best spells you can get at this level. Dimension Door is a utility spell. You can pick it if you want to, or you can learn it from a scroll. Advancement Black Tentacles is good for blocking the enemy for your enemies, blocking the way for your enemies to run away. I wouldn't say it's the best spell you can get at this point. Far Shield, not very useful. You're not gonna be in melee. Greater Invisibility, alright. Not too great, especially since it breaks if you cast a spell. It shouldn't be breaking. They didn't really create it as it should be in 5e, or as it is in 5e, so I wouldn't pick it. Pick normal invisibility instead. Ice Storm, a very good battlefield control spell. Otilux Resilience Sphere is slightly better than Banishment, however, because it lasts an additional turn, and you can also cast it on yourself to protect yourself. So you can protect yourself or trap an enemy. But it is a dex save, so it's more likely that your enemies are going to be able to make this save than the charisma one. However, it has a lot more utility. So if you're wondering between the two, I would pick Resilience Sphere. Phantasmal Killer, it's a DPS spell. We don't really need it. Polymorph, Larian dropped the ball a little bit on this one. It could have been so much more. I don't want to talk about it. It hurts. It hurts when I talk about Polymorph. Now, Stone Skin, not a great spell to have. It's a concentration and it's a 4th level spell. Wall of Fire, an amazing spell. An amazing battlefield control spell. It's persistent. You can shove your enemies back in. Your zombies can prevent them from getting through. Pick this. I love this. Now, Wizard level 8. You get 2 more of the spells we just talked about. I would probably pick the Sphere and 1 control spell. So it would be Confusion, Black Tentacles, or Ice Storm. Up to you. Let's go with Ice Storm. So then again, you get an ability score increase. You can again go for Tough or Resilient in Constitution. Very important to have Resilience in Constitution with concentration spells. As a wizard, you do not have that early on. So take those into consideration and make your choice as you want to play the game. I would recommend at this point getting Resilience. And you would have to respect your stats so that everything ends up even and nice and you're not having points wasted. Now, level 9, you get 5th level spell slots and spells. and those are gonna be incredible. You always pick Conjure Elemental here. You don't consider other options if you don't have Conjure Elemental. Then your alternatives are Cloud Kill, an amazing spell because yes, it's a con save, but it's poison damage, and everybody should know at this point undead are immune to poison, so you can set up the battlefield effect. Your enemies start choking on poison while your undead are in there happy smacking on your enemies. Cone of Cold is a good AoE spell, not a spell I would want with this build. We're going to be using our high spell slots to mostly create monsters, so it could be useful. I would rather just pick something else though. Dominate Person, a very cool spell. You get to control you get to get control of an enemy, and they hit their enemies, their allies, and they help fight for you, so it sort of counts as an additional summon. Hold Monster is very good for the same reason that Hold Person is very good. You can hold the monster while the creatures that are within 3 meters of it, or 10 feet, they do automatic criticals on it. So it's easier to hit because they hit it with advantage, and they automatically critical. And if you use your action to hold the monster and then your undead hit it, you just automatically win the encounter very easily. Planar Binding, I haven't found any useful uses for it. I'm at the end of Act 2. Maybe I've missed something, but it just doesn't feel very strong right now. Seeming, I wouldn't really bother with it. Telekinesis would be my pick here. It's a very fun spell to have, to pick up your zombies and throw them at the enemy, or to pick up your enemy and throw them in the middle of your zombies. Either way, it's going to be a very fun way to play in the battlefield, and it has a very cool thematic tone to it. Now, Wall of Stone is an alternative option. It's a very good control spell. You can lock out your enemies, or you can trap an enemy inside your zombie army. You could block off 2 of the enemies, and they have to go around, and they waste your actions. And it's a persistent effect. It is concentration, but I think it's very cool to be able to do some earthbending. So let's go with Telekinesis. Level 10, you get 2 more 5-level spells. And you get your subclass feature, Immune to Undeath. Essentially, your hit point maximum cannot be reduced, and you are resistant to necrotic damage. Not great. I would expect something more, like from any class that I'd be going for, but since it's so strong at level 6, we will forgive them. Now we can go for Ray of Frost, Shocking Grasp, or Blade Ward at this point. Blade Ward would be an alright cantrip in the case where you just want to protect yourself, since you're undead all doing all the damage. It's not concentration, thankfully, so it's a good choice. It's an alright choice, not a good choice. Then again, you pick from the other spells that we just talked about. Probably I would pick some control here, or Hold Monster and Cloud Kill, or Hold Monster and Wall of Stone. So something to control an enemy and something to control the battlefield. Now, at level 11, you get your 6-level spell slots, and oh boy, what options we have here. So, the one I like the most, Create Undead. You always pick this. You're a Necromancer, you need this. Now, your alternative options are Wall of Ice, high DPS, good battlefield control, persistent effect, love it. Then Sunbeam. The reason I like Sunbeam, and I would probably pick it or consider picking it maybe at level 12 or through a spell, reading a spell scroll, is because it has the good chance to blind your enemies. And when you blind your enemies, they attack with disadvantage, and you attack them with advantage, and you have a lot of monsters that want to be attacking with advantage. The problem with this spell is that it's an AoE, and it's hard to position yourself to not hit your monsters since you're going to have so many of them. So I would consider it probably not the best choice, but a very good one nonetheless. Autosy Resistible Dance, garbage spell, don't pick it. It's just fun to use, nothing else. Otilux Freezing Sphere, not bad, you can give it to an ally. It takes your 6-level spell slot, it's not worth it. Now, Globe of Invulnerability. They buffed this spell big time. It is concentration, but it creates a barrier that makes creature and objects inside it immune to all damage. So you can have your paladin, your cleric, everybody that's important to buffing your party inside this sphere, and have the undead on the outskirts of it, and have a party where it's immune, it gets advantage to saving throws. It has bonuses to its saving throws because of your paladin. It deals more damage because of your paladin, more damage because of your wizard subclass. It gets buffs from your life cleric, which we're going to be going through in the next video. And this is a very unique spell that can actually boost the combination of the party a lot. Now, Fleshy Stone, not an amazing spell. It's all right. It would be very nice to petrify an enemy that you do not want to kill, and come back and greater restoration them down the line. Eye Bite, another amazing spell, very useful. You can use your action to inflict conditions on your enemies. Definitely worth a look, definitely worth considering. I would be between the two of those. However, you're not going to have a lot of 6th level spell slots, so you might not get a chance to cast these spells in the battlefield, but good options if you ever plan to save a spell slot for these spells. Now, Eye Bite. Yep, Disintegrate, an amazing spell, very high damage spell. I wouldn't want to use it in case I lose loot, so that's something I would be afraid of. But it's a very, 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 very high damage spell. It's a deck save though, and most people can dodge it. And if they make the save, they don't take damage, so keep that in mind. Use this when you know it's gonna hit, when your enemy is paralyzed, or when your enemy is prone and they automatically fail all dexterity saving throws. Now, Circle of Death is probably my favorite AoE spell you can take. It synergizes very well with your Grim Harvest passive feature from your Necromancer. You get to do AoE fireball damage, not great, but for every creature you kill, you will heal for 18 damage, for 18 hit points. So this is a good heal spell for you. And Chain Lightning, I wouldn't really look at it at this point. You're not a Storm Sorcerer. Arcane Gate, good utility spell, not too great. Very good for getting your party through a place you want to go. So, yeah. Now for level 12, you either want to, if you haven't already, you have to pick Resilient in Constitution, or alternatively, you could just get a level in Fighter, which is going to give you, but remember, you have to respec into a Fighter. It's going to give you proficiency with heavy armor, and pick the defense fighting style. That's going to increase your armor class by a lot. You won't have to worry about casting mage armor in yourself anymore. So yeah, let's look at the alternative. How would we build a Spore Druid? Okay, now let's look at the Druid options. So at level 1, Druid, you're not really going to get much. You're going to continue with your spell progression. I would pick the spells that can actually be a little bit useful, which are Guidance and Resistance. For spells, I would get Healing Word. I would prepare Healing Word. You can prepare any of them at any time as a Druid. Create or Destroy Water is also a good alternative if you ever want to rain on your party and give them fire resistance. However, it does give vulnerability to lightning and cold damage, so be careful if your enemy has that. Do not cast Create Water. Then you can also have Speak with Animals for roleplay reasons. Probably the strongest one right now is the Healing Word, since your cleric is going to be able to create the water if you ever need it. Now for level 2, you have to go Druid of the Spores. The alternative options are not that good for what we want to be doing. Continue with Druid Spores. You're going to be getting your Symbiotic Entity at this point, which is not bad, not great. At this point, the build really flies off at level 6. So at level 3, I would pick Enhance Ability, and there is a reason for it. And maybe Spike Growth if your Druid in the party doesn't already have it. The reason we want Enhance Ability is because we're going to be buffing the strength of one of our melee classes, probably our Oathbreaker Paladin, and we're going to be picking up corpses with it. Okay, now for the next Druid cantrip you get at level 3, at level 4 Druid, I would pick Produce Flame. Produce Flame is the only one of these cantrips, since your wisdom is going to be so low, they will not be, it will be very easy for your enemies to, resist these spells. So Produce Flame can actually be a light source. You shouldn't be throwing the flame because you're going to be throwing it with your wisdom. So don't throw it, just use it as a light source. And since you are a human as GALE, this is actually going to be useful for you. You're going to be able to see in the dark. Then you can max your intelligence at this level. Maybe put a point in Constitution, start it off at 15, or start it off at 14 and put 2 more points either in Strength or in Wisdom. Or alternatively, you can go Tough and have a little bit more HP. Now, at level 5 Druid, you get the extra attack while in Wild Shape, which is not special for you. You get for free Gaseous Form and Animate Dead. Gaseous Form is a good form to have. It could allow you to travel through some small cracks here and there. I found a few in the game where I couldn't really use while I was playing with a Sorcerer, where this build would actually be able to use them. You also get Animate Spell, which you already know and always have prepared. Now, for spells here, I would consider Daylight. It's very good for Act 2, and Plant Growth for preparing them. Spike Growth is alright. Thunder Wave you're never going to be using. So Healing Word, Daylight, Create Water, and Plant Growth. Alternatively, swap out Plant Growth for Spike Growth, which does consistent damage and doesn't require saving throws. Now at level 6, we get exactly what we want with this class. So if you want to go Wizard up to 11, and then at level 12, Respec as a Druid, that's also an option, and go 6/6. This is what you want. This is why you go Druid, and this is what you want from it. You get some cool wild shapes, which I'm not going to lie, the extra hit points on the Owlbear, if you are ever in trouble, are also good. But also Fungal Infestation is the strongest ability you can get at this point. It allows you to summon 4 corpses, which whenever they hit an enemy and they die within 1 turn, if the enemy dies within 1 turn of being hit by one of those 4 zombies you're going to be summoning with your Fungal Infestation, they are also raised as a zombie, which has the same effect. So you can actually do a snowball effect of summoning a lot of zombies if you're fighting a lot of weak enemies. However, the zombies summoned by the condition imbued by the zombies created by Fungal Infestation will die within 10 turns. You could extend their life a little bit with Aid, but they lose 1 HP per turn until they die. So yes, that would be the build for the Druid, guys. So let's look at some gameplay. This Circle of Bones. You get this at Act 2 in the Gauntlet of Shar. I'm not going to say exactly what happens there. It's up to you to figure out. But you get that. If you want to know, comment below and I'll answer. I'll tell you exactly where it is, because it's a little bit of a spoiler. So this gives to your undead within 20 feet. You would probably be wearing those on your Oathbreaker Paladin, who's going to be giving the undead an aura of hate, which is going to boost their damage. And this will also give them resistance to bludgeoning, slashing, and piercing damage. So we're already buffing their damage and their resistances with this build. And we have one more cleric, life cleric, to go through next turn. And that's going to make this an even more insane combo. Then for the pendant that I was talking about is right here, the Spellcrux Amulet, which you can equip. And it allows you to replenish up to a 6th level spell slot, so you can actually get that additional summon. Yeah, so this is how it's going to look like. Yeah, these are the items that you're going to be using. I haven't found anything really accustomed to Necromancy apart from those in the Necromancy of Thay book. But so far, so cool. So yeah, right guys, so your spells should look a little bit like this towards the end of the game. So let's go through our summoning ideas. First of all, we have to look at the spreadsheet again. So, our summon plan. We have 2 level 6 spell slots. We don't just have one, because there is a pendant, which I'm gonna add. It's called the pendant. Oh shit, I don't remember it. So there is a pendant which allows you to restore 1 level 6 slot again. So we have 2 level 6 spell slots to use to summon. We have 3 level 2 because we can also use our wizard ability to get back 1 level 5 spell slot if we are alive in a 5 level wizard. Then we have Conjure Man Elemental at level 4, and we can get Find Familiar. We can summon Scratch if we finish the dog pet, and the Owlbear if we finish the questline. I'm not 100% certain about summoning the Owlbear pet. And if you are a Spore Druid, we can also summon 4 more zombies. Additionally, if you complete the Necromancy of Thay questline, you get 6 additional goals with Dance Macabre. So actually, I have a screenshot from one of our members of our Discord community. I'm going to be linking it in the description if you guys want to join, which will be, as we can see, he can summon a lot of ghouls, and it seems like it stacks with Animate Undead. So thank you, S, for giving us that information. So you're going to be casting your Find Familiar. I'd prefer Raven, to be honest. The ability to blind an enemy is very strong, as we talked about on the Sunbeam spell choice. And then you're going to be using your 6th level spell slot to summon either an upcasted Air Myrmidon, I like the fire one, to be honest, or to summon a mummy, or both. I would do both, or to update or to upcast, as you can see, the greater Animate Undead, but instead of going undead or zombie, skeleton or zombie, you go for ghoul or flying ghoul. And if you upcast it, instead of getting 2 targets, you get 4 targets. Now, you're gonna be asking, but Sawash, how can we get so many corpses at one place as to be able to do that? Very good question, very good thinking. Good job for figuring that out. Remember when I told you about this spell, Enhanceability, that we're gonna be using? Well, if you can actually pick up corpses in this game. Goblins are very good to be carrying around. You can drop them off at your camp, but they do weigh quite a bit. Goblins weigh up to 70 pounds. Bigger humanoids tend to weigh more. So if you use Enhanceability on yourself and you are a human and you have a decent strength, let's see, Enhanceability, Bear's Endurance. Let's say we do that on our fighter that has a little bit more strength. We can pick up almost any type of zombie that we find. Well, any type of corpse, potential zombie, future zombie. You can always check how much it weighs, 160 pounds. And you can pick up even more of them. And then just make sure you don't drop them on top of each other, because it messes up with the way that they're summoned. Drop. Yep. So now we drop them. Everything is close to each other. And now we can summon. We can create undead. This would create 1 mummy. And this does not work with your Necromancer ability, so you will only be getting 1 mummy if you used it. Alternatively, you could go for Create Undead and go for Create. Not Create Undead, Animate Undead. And you could pick Flying Ghouls or normal ghouls. Flying ghouls are better for flying and getting traveling further into the battlefield. But the regular ghouls have a lot more HP. If you want me to create summon tier list, please drop a like in the video, and I'll be doing that. So we use 4 corpses. We get 4 ghouls, 50 HP each. And if you knock your enemies prone, they can actually devour the enemy and heal. Remember that. All ghouls can do that. And they deal more damage. And if you cast your telekinesis, you can pick up one of them and throw it at the other. Always very cool to do that, or throw it at your enemies, and then you can subsequently on other turns just throw them. Very fun to do. Then, okay, so we've used our level 6 spell slot. Now we can use our 5th level spell slot to conjure elemental again, or we can use the amulet to actually upcast it into a Myrmidon. I like most the look of the fire Myrmidon. It kind of looks like Sauron, and I like having some fire damage in the party. So the one that looks the coolest is the Earth Elemental, if you ask me. So I would go for that one if you want to have the coolest and the meanest looking party. Then Symbiotic Entity, you can always use it at any time to get those temporary hit points since you're a Druid. It's going to give you 4 times your level. And additionally, you get your level 4 Conjure Minor Elemental. But spell is not prepared. Just prepare the spell. And these spells are not concentration, so you can do them. You mean it's not prepared? I prepared it. Yep, and you can choose whether you want to do Mad Memphits, Azer, and Ice Memphits. I like the Mad Memphits the most because they apply grappling on the enemy with their breath, and that actually gives advantage to all your attacks. However, the Ice Memphits could make your enemies drop on it, and then your ghouls could devour them. Azer feels like the weakest of the options. Even though it can knock your enemies down, it doesn't feel as strong. So, especially since we're going to be buffing their HP a lot. Also, these things explode when they die, which can do some really good burst. So, right now we have about 8 summons. Which, however, we can also have the Greater Mummy, right? Keep that in mind. Which we cannot do now because we don't have the pendant. Now, additionally, if you finish the Scratch questline, you can also summon Scratch, and we can get extra zombies from our fungal spores. As a Druid, you can get 4 of those. And these ones can summon even more. Now, from what we can see here, since we can summon our ghouls together with our animate dead, with Dance Macabre, you'll also have these 4 zombies and 6 more from completing the Necromancy of Thay questline. And if you ever come across a corpse, you have to pick it up and send it to your camp. Well, you can't send it, but you can go to your camp and drop it. And you're gonna have a pretty big army, which you can also buff with your Life Cleric. That's the next video. So yeah, let's quickly go through the Excel sheet again now. So we are gonna be summoning 1 Myrmidon, or 4 ghouls, and 1 mummy. So you have to choose, unfortunately, or you can do 1 mummy, 1 Myrmidon, and 5 ghouls, and 3 ghouls with a level 5 spell slot. 2 ghouls actually. So you would still get your summons. However, 4 ghouls plus Myrmidon probably is the most optimal choice. And then you get 5 of those, plus 6 from the Dance Macabre, 6 more ghouls. So you have 11 summons at this point. Then you get your... No. So, again. So you're going to be summoning 4 ghouls with upcasting the Animate Undead. Not Anime Undead. And you'll get 4 ghouls with that, 1 from the mummy. Then you're going to be using Conjure Elemental to get 1 elemental instead of a Myrmidon. I know it sucks. If you can find another way to get another 6 level spell slot, then we can do it and get the upcasted version. So 4 plus 1 mummy, 4 ghouls plus 1 mummy plus 6 ghouls, 11, plus 1 elemental, 12. Then we're going to be summoning 2 Memphits, either Ice or Mud, from Conjure Minor Elemental. So we're up to 14. Then we have a Find Familiar, I prefer Raven, go up to 15, Scratch as a bonus action, go up to 16. If we can also get the Owlbear, we'll go to 17, and then we get 4 zombies from the Spore Druid, which brings up the total to 21 summons. Now, note, this 21 can actually go even higher when these zombies hit other zombies. And that essentially stacks up and they can create even more zombies. However, they're not going to be lasting for long. Hey guys, this is the build. This is what I've found and all the information I have right now. Remember, Necromancy of Thay, complete that questline. Don't miss it in Act 1. If you don't know, Google it. It's been out for a while. Then remember to pick up any cores and put it in your camp. Just don't stack them on top of each other when you're summoning, because it will only summon 1 creature. And Upcast Animate Undead actually has a very cool effect. Even at the 3rd or 4th level, which are lower level spells, it gives you more skeletons at level 2 and at level 3 and 4 of the spell slot. So yeah, this is it, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for commenting, subscribing, and engaging in the community. And I'll see you guys on the next one, which is going to be the Life Cleric. Goodbye.